The co-founder of the Fyre Music Festival defending himself after being accused of scamming thousands of millennials into a luxurious music festival that turned into a nightmare of wet tents, cold cheese sandwiches, and no water. And now there is a legal battle surrounding this thing that could just be the beginning of high-profile supermodels and influencers involved with promoting this event. Trace Gallagher, live in our West Coast newsroom with the backstory on this one tonight. Hi, Trace.
Hi, Martha. This all began as an app called Fyre. It was supposed to become the Uber of booking talent. If you wanted a supermodel like Gigi Hadid to attend your event, you log on to Fyre, pay the fee, and she'd be there. It was the brainchild of Billy McFarlane, who at the time was working with the rapper Ja Rule. Then the Fyre app morphed into Fyre Festival, a music event on a private island in the Bahamas, complete with A-list performers, luxury accommodations, and five-star cuisine. And to promote the festival, Billy McFarlane flew in Bella Hadid, Emily Ratajkowski, and Haley Baldwin to shoot videos on a super yacht, and it worked. Within 48 hours, 95% of tickets were sold at prices ranging from $1,200 to $100,000. But as documentaries on Netflix and Hulu point out, the festival never happened. And not only did fans lose tens of thousands of dollars when Fyre filed for bankruptcy, the locals who built the site and supplied the materials were never paid. Here's part of the Hulu documentary, a snippet. Watch.
Has anyone ever called you a compulsive liar?
I've been called a lot of things since the festival.
Yeah, Billy McFarlane, by the way, is now serving 6 years in federal prison for fraud. Information from him, as you might imagine, is hard to obtain. So now, as part of the bankruptcy case, a judge is allowing the agencies that represent the supermodels who promoted the Fyre Festival to be subpoenaed to find out how much they were paid to promote the event. The hope is to figure out what happened to the millions of dollars in ticket sales. Many of the models, we should note, have already gone on social media saying they never realized the festival was a giant fraud. Martha.
Trace, thank you very much. Joining me now, Mark Eiglarz, criminal defense attorney. Mark, this is getting a ton of attention on Netflix and Hulu. Lots of people watching this, telling the story of Billy McFarlane. He's going to do 6 years in jail for fraud. What about the newest wrinkle here that sort of opens up this whole can of worms about these Instagram and social media influencers and how much culpability they may have?
Martha, I have no problem with them being forced to come into court and say exactly what they were paid. There's 26 million reasons why I think the judge should continue down the path that he's already gone down. People invested their hard-earned dollars thinking this was one thing, and Billy McFarlane is a big, fat fraud. You need to find out where the money went, and there is no supermodel privilege.
So, they need to know how much he paid these different models and whether or not,
yes,
if they got their money, then are they going to claw it back and try to give reparations to some of these people who lost their money?
No, likely not. But we believe that they got millions of dollars. Why? Because Billy McFarlane says so? I wouldn't believe that. I wouldn't believe anything that flows from his lips. So let them come into court and say, yeah, he paid me $250,000, Kendall Jenner will say, to text out, I'm going to Fyre. And by the way, she got reprimanded for that because now you got to say, hey, it was an advertisement. I wasn't really going. He was just paying me to do so. All these women have a certain level of culpability if they had any idea this was as fraudulent as it was.
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who don't, understand the extent to how much you can make being an Instagram or, an influencer on social media. For example, let's put up, these are the top 10 influencers on social media. Okay, Kylie Jenner's at the top of the list. Everybody knows that she's one of the youngest, I think, billionaire in the country. And Selena Gomez is on that list as well. So if these people so much as wear a pair of shoes, Kylie Jenner could get $1 million for wearing a pair of shoes on Instagram, right?
Insane. And all it takes is one guy who, by the way, his claim to fame was some credit card company, which most people complained about. So he was allegedly a fraudster before he started. All he did was take people's money, buy the influence, and then he sells out a festival. This is ludicrous, Martha, and I have no problem with them being brought into court to try to account for where this money went.
Just quickly, is this going to lead to more accountability with these influencers and, the impact that they have or that's buyer beware?
No, it should. It should absolutely lead to more accountability, especially when there's fraud behind it. See, this is very different. You've got people who invested their money, and they've got to figure out where the money went. If it went to the supermodels, okay, there's no money to be found. But maybe he said it went to them, and it went somewhere else.
Mark Eiglarsh, always good to have you. Thank you very much.
Same here. Thank you, Martha.